Prix of the world's 250 and 500cc championships. With 2 GPs already run, the Grand Prix circus has finally pitched camp for the European leg of the longest World Championship season in history. Both 250 and 500cc classes have thrown up different winners at each Grand Prix. Pepsi Suzuki's Kevin Schwantz and Eddie Lawson on the Marlboro Yamaha leading the 500cc charge, while Tony Mang on his Rothmans Honda and Jim Felice on his Honda have scored 250cc victories. So far, none of the strong Spanish contingent have managed to top the score sheet, but the massed motorcycling matadors are hungry for success in their home arena. And it's Spaniard Carlos Cardas who tops the leaderboard in practice, followed by his compatriot Cito Pons. Third is Jacques Cornu from Switzerland. Juan Garriga, another Spaniard, is in 4th place. Tony Mang is 5th. Carlos Lavado in 6th place. Reinhold Roth holds 7th. Dominic Sarron is 8th. Loris Reggiani in 9th place. Jean-Francois Baldet is 10th, with Luca Cadalora in 12th place, and Donny McLeod in 14th spot on his 7-Up EMC. Just 1.2 seconds separating those top 14 men. Cito Pons, leading the championship despite the lack of a Grand Prix win, has 2 second places to his credit, and he's determined to go one better here in Spain. Reigning champion Tony Mang won the opening Grand Prix in Japan aboard his Rothmans Honda, but he could finish only 8th in the USA on a circuit he clearly disliked. On the Marlboro Yamaha, Luca Cadalora has had a mixed start to his 2nd season in the 250cc class, but the former World 125 champion is expected to give the Spaniards a run for their money here. And double World 250 champion Carlos Lavado has begun his season in even worse form. Juan Garriga is 4th fastest in practice on his Yamaha. Another example of Spain's homespun Grand Prix talent. On the Rothmans Honda, Dominic Sarron set 8th best time. He's still paying the penalty for the Japanese disaster when a preparation error meant he was unable to start the race. In 14th place on the grid after problems in practice, Donny McLeod. He has yet to open his Grand Prix points account. The massive Jarama crowd of well over 100,000 is as boisterous and high-spirited as ever. Well, that's certainly one way of distracting the foreign riders. But this is where the fun stops and the serious business begins, as the best 250cc riders in the world wait in the heat of the sun for the start of the 31-lap Spanish Grand Prix. The starter flicks the lights from red to green and the 250cc Spanish Grand Prix is underway. It's a great start for Cito Pons, number 3, and also for number 5, his compatriot Carlos Cardas, as the field powers through the shimmering Spanish heat haze towards that all-important first corner. It's number 3, Cito Pons, who gets the drop. Also there, number 1, the reigning world champion Tony Mang. As they power around the right-hander, it's Pons, and Carlos Cardas is down, and the rest of the field forced to take avoiding action. Carlos Cardas, his helmet has obviously come off in that crash, and that's given a huge lead already to number 3, Cito Pons. Behind him, Tony Mang. Reinhold Roth has a good start, and so too has Jacques Cornu. But dramatic stuff at the start of this 250cc Spanish Grand Prix. Cito Pons has already opened up a lead over Tony Mang. Number 2 is Reinhold Roth, but sneaking through there is Jacques Cornu, number 9, on his Honda. A sensational start to this 250cc Spanish Grand Prix as our cameras go back for another look at that dramatic first corner. Pons is leading, Cardas right on his tail, when Cardas is high-sided, thrown from the machine. His helmet comes off in the crash and he suffers serious head injuries. Just look one more time at exactly what happens. Cito Pons is leading and right on his tail is Cardas, but the back end breaks away. It then grips suddenly, throwing Cardas over the front of the machine, and that's the end of his Spanish Grand Prix. The rest of the field are forced to take avoiding action, which means that already Cito Pons has opened up a large gap at the front of the field. Between Paolo Casali and Xavier Cardelas on the number 20 bike, but he's back in the race, safe and sound. Meanwhile, Cito Pons crosses the start and finish line, and already he's pulling out a huge gap, and the train behind him are struggling to keep up. It's Tony Mang from Cornu and Roth, and Cornu tries to go through, but Tony Mang shuts the door. The Rothmans Honda rider using all the experience of his years at the top, but Cornu tries again, and again Mang shuts him out. It's Mang, Cornu and Reinhold Roth in second, third and fourth places. And the crowd are cheering on their hero, Cito Pons, as he pulls further and further away on his Honda. Mang second, Cornu third, Roth fourth and Shimizu in fifth position. But they're just giving chase to that faraway figure who's disappearing into the distance lap after lap. Cito Pons in magnificent form on his home circuit. And if there's one Grand Prix he wants to win more than any other this year, it's this one. Cito Pons, the 27-year-old Spaniard, is going the right way about winning the Spanish Grand Prix here at Jarama. In absolutely magnificent form. Just look at that lead. Mang in second, followed closely by Cornu. Roth on the HB Roma Honda. And bringing up the rear of that group, Shimizu. But out front, no doubt whatsoever about the leader, Cito Pons. Pons on the Honda. Mang on the Rothmans Honda in second place. Cornu third on his Honda. And in fourth place on the HB Roma Honda, it's Reinhold Roth. 5 men now in that battle. Coming up to join them, number 11, Juan Garriga on the Yamaha. And leading the second group is Donny McLeod. An unusual sight in 250cc racing with one man way ahead of the rest of the field. That's Cito Pons, and this is the battle for second place. Tony Mang, Jacques Cornu trying once again to forge through on the inside, but again Tony Mang shuts him out. Mang, Cornu, Roth, Shimizu trying to go around the outside, and number 11 Garriga in there too. But none of them can come close to Cito Pons, his lead a legacy of that first corner incident. Mang in second, third now Cornu. Fourth, but going up into third place, it's Reinhold Roth, stealing a place from Jacques Cornu. Shimizu is behind them in fifth spot. Opening the gap, lap after lap, it's Cito Pons. Mang still holding on in second. Third is Reinhold Roth, fourth Cornu, fifth is Shimizu, and in sixth place now it's Juan Garriga. The two West Germans who finished first and second in the world last year, disputing that second place. Bringing up the rear of that group, it's Garriga, but at the front, Tony Mang, Reinhold Roth, Jacques Cornu, Masahiro Shimizu, and then Garriga at the back. Normally in a 250 race, that would be the battle for the lead. But there's no battle for the lead this time. Cito Pons way out in front. Tony Mang still leading that second group from Reinhold Roth and Jacques Cornu, but Roth moving up now to try the inside line. It was unsuccessful for Cornu and it's unsuccessful for Roth. As Tony Mang moves across, that's my second place, he says, and I'm keeping it. Tony Mang in second, Reinhold Roth holding on to third spot. But out in front, Cito Pons leading the Spanish Grand Prix at Jarama and leading it by a mile. Despite the constant pressure from Jacques Cornu, Shimizu and Garriga at the back of the group. And Cito Pons now has more than half the straight's lead over that chasing group, fighting for second place. Tony Mang holding on the Rothmans Honda. Reinhold Roth in third spot. And they're fighting all the way round, but once again, Tony Mang clings on to second place. Will the pressure turn? The pressure does tell. The world champion is down, and that's the end of Tony Mang's Spanish Grand Prix. He picks himself up, frustrated with himself, checks that everything's okay, dusts himself down, and he's bitterly disappointed with himself as the race for second place goes on. But Tony Mang's race is over. Reinhold Roth now holding second place on the HB Roma Honda. Meanwhile, on the Roma bike, Harold Eckel fighting for the last World Championship points down in 15th place. This is the best performance we've seen from Reinhold Roth this season. Very much a return to form for the German who finished second in last year's championship. Let's have a look at that Mang crash again. Notice the Rothmans Honda is programmed to destroy the banner of the rival cigarette manufacturer. But Mang is absolutely disgusted with himself. He just lost the back end and it was rider error. No other way of describing it. The back end steps out, Mang's unable to control it, and he's very lucky to avoid being hit by Reinhold Roth. That was very close indeed. A narrow escape for the reigning world 250cc champion, Tony Mang. And it's not very often that you see the 5 times world champion make a mistake like that. An error that'll do his world championship chances no good at all. Approaching half distance, and Cito Pons has a massive 10-second lead over the second place man. A superb performance from him on his home circuit. But the battle for second place is hotting up. Garriga hanging on to the tail of that 4-man group. Roth in second. Cornu is third, and Garriga goes through to take Shimizu to the cheers of the Spanish crowd. It's 4th place for Garriga, but 1st place for Cito Pons. Tony Mang makes his way back to the paddock to the good-natured applause of the crowd, and as always, that well-known writer of fiction, Gunter Wiesinger, is the first man on the scene to interview Tony Mang. Snaking under braking, Reinhold Roth in second spot. In third, it's Jacques Cornu, but giving chase hard is Juan Garriga, and Garriga is making a move to try and go round the outside of Cornu on this long left-hander. Cornu stays in front for the time being, but all of a sudden, the advantage goes to Garriga, and he dives through to take over that 3rd spot. Now, Reinhold Roth had better watch out. His second place is in jeopardy, because without doubt, the quickest man on the track at the moment is number 11, Juan Garriga. In 3rd spot, that's Garriga. Right behind him, Jacques Cornu. But Garriga is the man that Reinhold Roth has got to worry about. And already Garriga has closed the gap on the second place man. Consistent lap after consistent lap for Cito Pons is keeping him well out of harm's way in the lead. He can now control the race from the front. All he has to do is keep putting in those ultra-fast laps, while the battle for second place is as hot as ever. Roth second, Garriga third, Cornu in 4th, and Shimizu in 5th place. Cito Pons, the 27-year-old from Barcelona, in the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. And now Garriga's right with Roth, and he's making his move, and he goes through on the inside. Juan Garriga takes second place to the cheers, the ecstatic cheers of this Spanish crowd. Juan Garriga making it a Spanish 1-2 in the 250cc Spanish Grand Prix. And there's nothing Reinhold Roth can do about it. Third in the world last year, Cito Pons, leading the race, but he won't be leading the race for long if he carries on doing things like that. Obviously, the pace is beginning to tell on those tyres. This the battle for second, and still Reinhold Roth is giving chase. He certainly hasn't given up yet. And moving up to join that group is Frenchman Jean-Philippe Rougier. He was 12th on the first lap, but he's powering through the field. The bike-mad Spaniards will use any vantage point they can to get a glimpse of their heroes, and one of them's in second, Juan Garriga. Third is Roth, 4th Cornu, 5th Shimizu, and in 6th place it's Rougier. But Roth's making a move around the outside. Garriga has the better line, and there's no way that Roth can get through, so it's still Garriga from Roth in 2nd and 3rd places. The Spaniard leads the West German. Once again he tries on the inside, but Garriga has the better line. The best lines of all, though, have gone to Cito Pons, a clear track ahead of him, and leader from the first corner. 2/3 of the race run, and Garriga is starting to pull away from Roth. Cornu holding on in 4th spot, and now Rougier is up to 5th place ahead of Shimizu. Luca Cadalora, number 7, in 7th place on the Marlboro Yamaha. And in 8th on the 7-Up EMC, it's Donny McLeod. That's the EMC's best performance this year. Dominique Serron making his way back to the pits after crashing out of the race. Riga from Roth. Yamaha from Honda. Cornu and Rougier now increasingly piling on the pressure. And Rougier takes Cornu up into 4th place. Jean-Philippe Rougier is in 4th, but Cornu's fighting back. Garriga in 2nd place. 3rd is Roth. 4th, Rougier. So a Spaniard, a German, a Frenchman, and a Swiss. With an Italian in 7th spot. That's Luca Cadalora. And the crowd's diversionary tactics seem to have worked, with 2 Spaniards leading the race. Cito Pons and Juan Garriga. This well-rounded señorita is obviously enjoying the spectacle, as Rougier challenges for 3rd spot. Roth takes slightly too wide a line, and the Frenchman's through into 3rd place. So it's Honda out front, Yamaha in 2nd place, and Yamaha in 3rd spot. and Cornu goes through to try and take fourth place, and he does it. Reinhold Roth slipping back as he tires in the closing stages of this race. Donny McLeod in 8th place on the EMC. That's their best result for a long, long time. 2nd place, Garriga. 3rd is Ruggia. 4th, Cornu. In 5th place, it's Roth, and 6th is Shimizu. This battle for 2nd place lasting until the final stages of this race. But there's no battle at all for the lead. Cito Pons has been out front from the start, and that's the way he intends to stay with just 2 laps to go. Donny McLeod in 8th place on the EMC. He's being chased by Martin Wimmer and Manfred Herway. And down goes Bruno Casanova. Casanova out of the race right in the closing stages. And Shimizu has got past Reinhold Roth. Shimizu now in 5th place on his Works Honda. As Bruno Casanova makes his way dejectedly back to the paddock, Cito Pons is on his final lap. He's now less than 2 miles away from victory in the Spanish Grand Prix. Luca Cadalora, he'll pick up 9 World Championship points for his 7th place. But Cito Pons will get the maximum 20 points, and his first Grand Prix victory of the 1988 season. In 2nd place, it's Juan Garriga. He'll get 17 points. The checkered flag is ready and waiting for the local man. And Cito Pons wins the 250cc Spanish Grand Prix. And Cito Pons will increase his lead at the top of the 250cc title table. A win then for Cito Pons. Juan Garriga is 2nd. Jean-Philippe Rougier is 3rd. Jacques Cornu in 4th. Masahiro Shimizu is 5th. Reinhold Roth in 6th place. Cadalora 7th. Donny McLeod is 8th. Martin Wimmer 9th. And Manfred Herway takes 10th place. So the championship standings. Cito Pons on 54, Cornu 35, Garriga is 33, Mang 28, Rougier 27, Kozinski is on 24 points as they look forward to the next round, also in Spain at the Expo 92 Grand Prix. Just listen to those Spanish celebrations. Grand Prix winner this year, and Tony Mang has certainly got his work cut out if he's to score a 6th World Championship victory in 1988. Once the race starts, there's more than the clock to fight against. So, the practice leaderboard. In 1st place, Kevin McGee, his first pole position on the Roberts Yamaha. 2nd is Eddie Lawson on the Marlboro Yamaha. In 3rd place, it's Christian Sarol for Sonoto Yamaha. Wayne Gardner is 4th on the Rothmans Honda. Wayne Rainey in 5th place on the 2nd of the Roberts Yamahas. Kevin Schwantz is 6th for Pepsi Suzuki. Neil McKenzie 7th for HRC Honda. In 8th it's Didier de Radiguez on the Marlboro Yamaha. Tadahiko Taira, who won't start, is 9th. Pier Francesco Killy is 10th. And Ron Haslam is in 13th place, with Rob McElney in 14th on the Pepsi Suzuki. A unique bird's-eye view of the front row of the grid from our overhead camera. Kevin McGee in pole position, Eddie Lawson alongside him, then Christian Sarol, with a gap between him and Wayne Rainey for Wayne Gardner, the reigning world champion. Ahead of them, 37 laps of this twisty and demanding Harama circuit, one of the toughest Grand Prix tracks there is. Missing from that 2nd row of the grid, of course, Tadahiko Taira. Just moments now away from the start of the race, and already the riders are getting agitated because they've been held on the line for too long. The man with the red flag walks to the side, the lights will change to green, and the race will be on. Eddie Lawson edges forward, and so does Kevin McGee, and finally the lights change. Now, was that a false start? But no, the race is underway, and Eddie Lawson has got an absolute flyer. It's Eddie Lawson who leads the pack on the charge down into that first right-handed corner. Lawson, number 3, out front, and a great start from number 21, Raymond Roche. Also from Killy and from Gardner. McGee is up there too. But it's Eddie Lawson who leads. Eddie Lawson in 1st place, Raymond Roche on the Cajiva in 2nd. Killy 3rd, Gardner 4th, Christian Sarol is there in 5th place. And already Kevin Schwantz has a problem. The Pepsi Suzuki smoking badly, and Schwantz losing place after place as the field streams by him. But just look at that lead, opened up by Eddie Lawson. Raymond Roche, a surprise name in second place, Kajiva's only representative in the absence of Randy Momola. Killy third and Gardner fourth as we take another look at that start in slow motion. Watch McGee and Lawson. Lawson goes for it and then breaks while McGee forges away. But it's Lawson who gets the advantage from that start. And Lawson is already way out in front. And Killy goes through into second place ahead of the Kajiva with Wayne Gardner in fourth. And right with him is Christian Saron. But I don't think we'll see the Kajiva up among the top three for very long. And still in big trouble, it's Kevin Schwantz. But right out in front with a massive lead already, it's the Marlboro Yamaha of Eddie Lawson. In second place is Killy, but now Saron is up into third spot. Eddie Lawson, the 30-year-old Californian, is leading the Spanish Grand Prix. And up into second place goes Saron, and past Killy goes Wayne Gardner. And in fifth spot, it's Kevin McGee, the pole position man. Past the massive crowd, Saron in second, Gardner third, Killy fourth, and challenging all the time, Kevin McGee. The chasing pack are hauling in Eddie Lawson. Saron in second, Gardner third, Killy fourth, and McGee in fifth spot ahead of Roche and Wayne Rainey. Lawson. Smooth as ever, but Saron is closing, and so is Gardner. Gardner right on Saron's tail, and McGee now up in a fourth place. That's Eddie Lawson past the start and finish line one more time. And Saron using every inch of the track in his pursuit of the leader. It's Lawson, Saron, Gardner, McGee moving up. Killy. Pierre Francesco Killy showing no ill effects from that practice tumble. Lawson leads for Marlboro Yamaha, but second, third and fourth men are closing up, and Gardner tries to go through on the inside to take that second place, but not this time. Kevin McGee looking the danger man all the time. Saron, Gardner, the reigning world champion, having to fight all the way this year. Three Yamahas from different teams against one Honda. Eddie Lawson leads. Lawson third in the world last year behind Gardner and Randy Momola. Momola absent from this event. He won't be back until the Italian Grand Prix at Imola. The second place train closing on the leader. Kevin Schwantz losing places all the time, but he never gives up. Christian Saron using all the track and a little bit besides in his pursuit of Eddie Lawson. Lawson first, Saron second, and Wayne Gardner trying the inside line to get the better of Christian Saron. But Saron has the correct line and shuts him out. Right on both their tails, though, is Kevin McGee. Lawson, Saron, and McGee tries to go around the outside. But this time he's left himself with just a bit too much to do. Kevin Schwantz, the Suzuki smoking badly, is in big trouble. Down 4 gears as he tips the Yamaha in. Behind him, Wayne Gardner, and right on Gardner's tail, it's McGee. Charging through the field after an atrocious start, it's Neil McKenzie. But just look how much the second place battle has closed up on Eddie Lawson. Saron is moving to within striking distance now. In fifth place, it's Rainey, and Killy in sixth. Eddie Lawson's seen that lead evaporate. Saron now is right up with him, and McGee is trying the inside line, but not this time. That's the gap now. Eddie Lawson, Saron. Lawson down behind the bubble to coax every mile per hour out of that Yamaha. And Wayne Gardner trying the inside line, and he gets through. Gardner moves up into second place. Going through on the inside of Christian Saron. And that's the battle for 9th place. Roche, Ron Haslam, Mike Baldwin and Shunji Yatsushiro. Baldwin bringing up the rear of the group on his rent-a-bike Honda. But now they're right with Lawson. Gardner is chasing his old arch rival, coaxing all the power he can out of the Honda to get right on terms with Eddie Lawson. Have Honda sorted out the braking and handling problems that have caused them so much trouble so far this season? Kevin Schwantz cruising now. He's on his way out of the race. Lawson knows he's under pressure, knows they're closing on him, and knows that Wayne Gardner is the man that's on his tail. Oh, and a dreadful moment there for Christian Sarrant, the back end stepping out of his Yamaha. Gardner, inch by inch, closing the advantage that Eddie Lawson has. Lawson's words earlier coming very true indeed. He said, you've always got to watch Wayne Gardner, and watch him you must. And Kevin McGee is moving up into third place. It's now Lawson, Gardner and McGee, with Sarrant in fourth spot. Now there's equal distance between them. Lawson, Gardner, McGee and Christian Sarrant at the back of that fighting foursome. Lawson just can't get away. He's allowed that lead to evaporate. He's allowed Wayne Gardner to catch him, and he may well live to regret that. Lawson, Gardner, McGee and Sarrant. That's the fight for first place. Remember last year, Kevin McGee shot to stardom with a superb third place here at Jarama at the end of the season. Now he's out to do better than that. He's in third place at the moment. Can he make up any more places? It's Lawson leading. Gardner in second spot. And it looks like McGee is closing on Gardner. The Australian's got his fellow Aussie in his sights. Lawson, Gardner, McGee and Sarrant. And the sad sight of the Japanese Grand Prix winner just cruising around with his Suzuki badly smoking. What terrific racing this 500cc championship has produced so far this season, and the Spanish Grand Prix is no exception, as Wayne Gardner presses Eddie Lawson for the lead. Lawson holding on at the moment. It's Lawson from Gardner. The Rothmans Honda man giving chase with every ounce of his ability. The battle for ninth place, that's Shunji Yatsushiro on the second Rothmans bike. But this is the fight for the lead. And Kevin McGee is definitely closing on Wayne Gardner. Lawson in the lead. The double world champion leads the reigning world champion. And Gardner takes a sneaky look behind him, as already they're coming up behind the back markers. Lawson gets safely through, and so does Gardner. And the two other men in that battle are safely through as well. Neil Mackenzie taking his teammate to charge through to sixth place. And Eddie Lawson is starting to pull away once more. His Michelin tyres obviously lasting the pace well in these middle stages. Lawson, Gardner, McGee. And McGee always looking dangerous as he challenges the reigning champ. Gardner trying to get back on terms with Lawson. And Haslam holding his own in the battle for ninth. Lawson leads still. There's no one better at controlling a race from the very front. And that's the gap that Eddie Lawson has re-established over second place man Wayne Gardner. Kevin McGee just shows Gardner his front wheel to let him know that he could be through at any time. And Gardner's rear end steps out there. McGee tries to go around the outside, but this time Gardner manages to hold sway. It's still Gardner second and McGee in third, with Sarrant bringing up the rear of that group in fourth position. Wayne Gardner, the man they call the Australia's Sportsman of the Year, but he can do nothing to fall in Eddie Lawson, who's opened up a gap once more, and McGee is going through on the inside. Will he make it this time? Yes, he does. There's a new second place man. Kevin McGee takes second place from Wayne Gardner. Haslam coming under pressure now for that ninth place from Shunji Yatsushiro. He's not going to make the mistake that he made in practice and ground that front swinging arm. Now, can Kevin McGee fall in Eddie Lawson? And already it looks like he's opened a gap over Wayne Gardner, so it's quite possible. McGee needs to string together some consistent laps and there's nobody who can do that better than Eddie Lawson, so it should be a fascinating battle. On the charge. He looks to be the fastest man on the track at the moment. Lawson, McGee. It's as close as that. McGee in only his 6th Grand Prix race. A superb achievement to come so far in so short a time. He's closing on Eddie Lawson all the time. Lawson, the most experienced Grand Prix racer in the top flight, who's still racing at the moment, and still very much a force to be reckoned with. That's the gap between Kevin McGee and Wayne Gardner in 3rd place. Saron still right behind Gardner, and always a threat. McElney in 12th place. That's a disappointing ride for him. The gap closing inch by inch. Lawson and McGee now well within striking distance of the leader. There's Lawson, and that's McGee. And they're well clear of Wayne Gardner now. The 2 Yamahas established at the front of the field. Wayne Gardner can only watch it happen ahead of him. 22 laps now of the 37 laps run, and McGee is now right with Eddie Lawson. Kevin McGee, the Australian, is right on the American's tail. And Gardner seems to have shaken off Christian Saron. Eddie Lawson leads the 25-year-old Australian Kevin McGee. Just look at that back wheel hopping under the braking into that left-handed corner as McGee gives chase to Eddie Lawson. Wayne Gardner now on his own in 3rd place, but you can never discount the talented Frenchman Christian Saron. In 1987, it was a 2-way battle for the championship. This year, it looks like being a 5-way battle. Lawson still holding off McGee, but McGee closing all the time. Eddie Lawson knows what it's like to score a Grand Prix victory. He knows what it's like to win a World Championship. But Kevin McGee is hungry for glory. Lawson and McGee is now definitely closer. He looks ready to pounce at any moment. Raymond Roche was in 2nd place on the 1st lap. Now he's holding 11th place, ahead of what must be described as a lackluster performance by Rob McElney. But there's nothing lackluster about this performance, the performance of Kevin McGee. Eddie Lawson still managing to hold off the Australian challenge, but for how long can he keep it up? Eddie Lawson, one of the established kings of Grand Prix racing, and one of the young pretenders to his throne. Kevin McGee showing a maturity beyond his experience as he gives chase to the double world champion. Eddie Lawson on the Marlboro Yamaha. And in 2nd spot, right behind him, Kevin McGee on the Lucky Strike Yamaha. 2 Yamahas out front, a Honda in 3rd spot. Yamaha certainly seem to have got things right for 1988. An ultra-wide line from Kevin McGee, but it seems very effective nonetheless. The front wheel of Lawson's Yamaha pouring the air as he tries to get away from the ever-present figure of Kevin McGee. In 3rd, it's Gardner. And now Saron is right back with him. And now Kevin McGee is right on Eddie Lawson's back wheel. It looks like Kevin McGee is just biding his time, waiting for the right opportunity to go through and lead the Spanish Grand Prix. Can Kevin McGee spring a surprise such as the one sprung by Rob McElney's teammate, Kevin Schwantz, in the Japanese Grand Prix? The leaders coming up behind yet another group of back markers, and will they make the difference between victory and defeat, between 1st and 2nd? Lawson snaking under braking on the bumpy track, but McGee looking very smooth indeed. Wayne Gardner weaving as he hits the curb, and right in his tyre tracks, Saron. The back markers now will come into play. Lawson, much the more experienced man, and there's a back marker between the 1st and 2nd placed man. Kevin McGee has lost a bit of ground in that manoeuvre, and Sarron is back into third place. Christian Sarron is back to third. He's got the better of Wayne Gardner, and have Honda's handling and brake problems returned. And the backmarkers have played a crucial part. Eddie Lawson has lost the ground he made up earlier on, and Kevin McGee is right back in his wheel tracks. Lawson and McGee safely through past that bunch of backmarkers. Sarron in third place. But Gardner not letting him go. He wants those 15 valuable World Championship points. Right on Eddie Lawson's tail is Kevin McGee. But has he got the horsepower and the skill to get by? Now third and fourth positions are about to change again as Gardner powers through. Lawson and McGee. That's the battle for the lead. More back markers on the way, and that time Kevin McGee just trying that inside line to see whether there's any advantage. This time he's going around the outside. But will that line him up for the next corner? Another back marker. They both dive through on the inside, and they're still together. McGee is looking increasingly threatening, but Lawson's holding on for the moment. Gardner still in third place, and Sarron fourth. 3/4 of the way through the race, and still everything to play for. Gardner in third, and Sarron fourth. But this is the absorbing battle for the lead. Eddie Lawson and Kevin McGee, America versus Australia. The two Yamahas fighting it out. And McGee moves up alongside Eddie Lawson, but Lawson shuts him out. McGee must make his move soon if he's to establish himself at the front. And there he goes through on the inside. Kevin McGee takes the inside line and goes past Eddie Lawson to lead a Grand Prix for the first time in his career. Kevin McGee leads the Spanish Grand Prix, and this is the move that put him at the front of the field. Through on the inside, a superb overtaking manoeuvre to give Kevin McGee the lead of the 500cc Spanish Grand Prix. A magnificent move from McGee, but Lawson is fighting back. Lawson trying everything he knows to get back that lead that he's held since the start of this race. Wayne Gardner in third spot, now starting to pull away once again from Christian Sarron. The battle for fifth spot, Wayne Rainey leads Neil Mackenzie. But Mackenzie looks as if he may well have the measure of the Yamaha rider, whose teammate is leading the race, Kevin McGee. But Lawson is fighting back. He just showed McGee that he was still there by nudging the front wheel alongside him. And McGee knows better than to write off Eddie Lawson. The Australian leads. Eddie Lawson in second place, but only a fraction behind. McGee leads Lawson. More than 3/4 of the way through this Spanish Grand Prix. And it looks like there could be yet another winner in the 500cc class. But they're coming up to back markers, and that could make a difference again. McGee leads Lawson. These are the back markers who could be crucial. Lawson will need all his racecraft in order to take advantage, and he does. He spots the opportunity, moves up the inside, and boxes McGee completely in. McGee tries to drive around the outside, but he can't make it. He goes for the inside line, but on this occasion, it's Lawson who's got far the better route around the corner, and it's Lawson who's back in the lead with just 8 laps remaining of this enthralling Spanish Grand Prix. It's absolutely superb stuff. The 500cc class turning out to be every bit as good as the 250cc chases have been in previous years. Lawson leads, McGee in second place. And Mackenzie goes through to take 5th place from Wayne Rainey. Neil Mackenzie in 5th spot. Lawson ahead. The two Yamahas in a race of their own. They've forgotten about everybody else. And Wayne Gardner in 3rd spot has dropped Christian Sarron again. McGee is coming back at Eddie Lawson. He hasn't given up his hopes of a first Grand Prix victory yet as the race moves towards a thrilling climax. It's Lawson from McGee, but for how long? McGee slipstreaming Lawson down the straight as they sit up, brake hard for the right-hander. Lawson still holds the advantage at the spot where he grabbed the lead back from Kevin McGee. Lawson leads, McGee right behind him, and this race is far from over yet. In third place, still Wayne Gardner on the Rothmans Honda. And that third place would be enough to keep him in second place in the World's Championship. The leaders coming up behind some more back markers. Lawson has still got the drop on Kevin McGee. McGee will be looking for any opportunity to get past Eddie Lawson and retake the lead of this race. And he does it at the same corner that he got the lead on the first occasion. Kevin McGee powers through on the inside of Eddie Lawson. Lawson tries to get him back there, but McGee chops him out, and it's Kevin McGee back in the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. Superb action from magnificent McGee. They start their last lap, and they come upon the back markers that are the battle for ninth place. Back markers have played a crucial role in this race. Will they do so again as Ron Haslam and Shunji Yatsushiro battle it out for that ninth position? They're oblivious of the titanic struggle that's going on behind them, but they're soon to find out. Kevin McGee leading, and McGee tries to go up the inside of Shunji Yatsushiro, but it's the wrong move to make, and Lawson is right back with him. Lawson has closed the gap. It's McGee and Lawson, but it's much, much closer. There's just half a lap left. They go under the bridge, 4 abreast, and Lawson is forced to go wide. McGee gets the better of it, and that could be the crucial corner which decides the outcome of this race. There's Yatsushiro between Kevin McGee and Eddie Lawson. Lawson finally gets through, but has Kevin McGee done enough to win the race? The answer has to be yes. In third place, it's Wayne Gardner. Kevin McGee then just one corner from his first Grand Prix victory and from becoming the third different Grand Prix winner in as many races. Kevin Schwantz in Japan, Eddie Lawson in the USA, and Kevin McGee in Spain. But just what was the secret of McGee's success?
Kenny gave me a bit of advice on how to start, and it worked pretty well, and had to work hard from there.
Did you feel confident you could win this race?
Yeah, I did feel fairly confident, probably about 95% confident.
How about the bike? Did it any trouble at all?
No, the bike ran perfect. The mechanic's done a great job, and the team's done well developing the bike from what we had at the start of the year.
Race favorite heading